Members of the Governor's Media team here present, I welcome everybody to this meeting. Hi Chief Chukwuka, your being here is for a friendly media chat. Clarification is necessary because most times when chief executives, politicians, prominent people are supposed to face the press, there's always this anxiety. Who knows what they want? Who knows the angles they will come from? When you're my fan in your back, this one, you and us are in the same boat. The idea of this media chat, which was conceived by the CPS, is to have regular, very friendly, like Nzuko Monna, with those who the governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Obiano, has given serious responsibilities in different sectors of the state economy to help him pilot Anambra State to where he wants it to be, which is to be better than he met it. And these people and their establishments have also impacted positively on the administration, and the records are there to show. Now, some of us who are members of the media team may not know the intricacies and some of the finer details of the work these ministries and parastatals and agencies of government do. So, from the time we began with Commissioner for Works, it was always week after week of serious enlightenment. And so having said that, gentlemen, our normal protocol here is, as soon as I lay this groundwork, we give the individual the microphone to make a brief remark.
This agency was conceived by our dynamic working governor, Chief Sir Dr. Willie Chukwuka, in 2014. And the major reason behind establishing ASBA was not different from him being a very senior and top echelon banker who believed coming to governance, he must have a proper planning. By the way, if you've not planned very well, you're planned to fail. And so he set up his pillars and enablers. I have a chance to belong to one of the enablers of His Excellency, is germane to everything in human being do, which is funding. No wonder Shakespeare said you are dead without money. Whatever we do here for you to be here, there must be monetary element that brought you here. Whether in your logistics, whether in transportation, whether in feeding. And so, ASBA was conceived to simply put, be a developing financial agency of Anambra State. Developing financial agency of Anambra State. Recall that micro, small, and medium enterprises were the pillar, the engine room of every economy. And that's why, if you look at the Indians, the Chinese, that was the time the Indians used to be the highest populated, environment. China overtook them. It's supposed to be a disadvantage, but it wasn't. They locked up their shores and moved into developing micro, small, and medium by trial and error method. At the end of the day, we are doing tourism in India. Today, it is China. So, His Excellency believed these micro people are people by a layman definition. If you belong to micro enterprises, we are doing all the legitimate things of living, but the difference is that you're operating between 1 naira to 5 million. Above 5 million to a cap of 500 million, half a billion, you belong to SME, small and medium. So you can see it's not small at all. Because the population of Anambra State, I can tell you that 75 to 80% belong to this bracket. And any dynamic governor that really want to make an impact must address these people, this, sector. And so His Excellency believed that, one, aside from planning, having its structures right, he felt he should govern this state with strong institution, as opposed to strong personality. Most of his predecessors used, I am this, I am that. That's strong personalities. And strong personalities do not outlive their owners. Once you are out of office, all your programs are into extinction. But if you set up a strong institution, that institution must have the blessings of the law. In Anambra State, we have the Anambra State House of Assembly. Today, ASBA had a gazette approved by the Anambra State of Assembly with all the powers appertaining for us to take charge of every activities of micro, small, and medium in Anambra State, the engine room of the state. Making sure that we fund them right, fund in single digits. Because prior to the arrival of ASBA, all these micro, small, and whatever are perceived as people with leper. You go to a financial institution, you are working for them. Sometimes they give you loan at a double digits. It means if you borrow money from them, they may write this is 25%, this is 18%. It's not all. You have arrangement, commitment, and so on and so forth. By the time you analyze it, you are coming up to 38, 40 something. What businesses will you going to do under this inclement weather for you to break even? People are sacking stuff. Businesses are no longer moving. So with ASBA, we are to fund single digits. And governor has mandated us to raise funds from all the development financial institutions. ASBA took off in 2015 with 2 billion naira. The first 1 billion was for micro credit. The other 1 billion was for SME. And so we spent this. We moved into action, communicated everywhere. And at the end of the day, we ended up funding over 13,750 micro enterprises in the state. Some of our activities are showing for themselves. The likes of Anambra Rice is a creation of ASBA. We visited and saw what it was doing there, good infrastructure. But it needed to power it, needed to lubricate it. So we funded them. And not only that, we created a platform because he needed party. And we told our state should be specializing, not jack of all trade and master of none. We funded youth with 500,000. They require 320 to, farm an acre. An acre simply put is a football pitch. And if you do it within 4 or 5 months, your rice paddy is ready. The Anambra rice man will come and crunch it and pay you $1 million plus. That's a paradigm shift. And then that's what shaped this economy. We also moved in because ours is a development financial institution. The parameter is to ensure not only funding right, but are funding critical infrastructures. We have gotten Anambra rice. Now we move into shoe. We know that people like Obiano or Denibo, they buy their shoes offshore. And we say why? The dollar is in Clement because the dollar is the vagaries in the exchange rate is so that you can't predict. Today, dollar is hovering plus or minus 500 naira. So for you to buy $100 worth of equivalent, you know what it means. So we saw these guys and we said to ourselves, you are doing good, what's your problem? They said environmental. They said support. And we said, wow, the shoes you are producing there, how do you market it? They said the men at the Bright Street will come and buy 7,500, 6,000. And I moved to Bright Street to buy the shoe, 1 or 2. They are selling it for 45,000. But the quality is good. I say we must shape that paradise. Under Obiano. You must have made in Anambra shoe. I saw the idea to my board, moved to the governor. He listens very well. He listens very, very well and gave a support. And they've got land. If you go to Ubunike buying place like a junction, it is functional. It is fully functional now. So they moved there. We built 1,000 of such where they are manufacturing it. How did you do it? We call them and say, I place 500,000 naira per head. Around 600 to 800 people. That translates to 400 million. And I told them, rather than give you this money cash, you will have an MOU. We have a tripartite agreement between ASBA, you get a developer, and then also the executive of their union. That this fund, rather than giving you cash, will be domiciled in a bank, in Fidelity Bank. And their developer will be releasing money milestone by milestone. And that's what we did today in session. When the central bank directors and His Excellency and the team came for the opening ceremony, it was wow. That's one. Following that success story also, because remember, ASBA is coming out from a development financial agency of the state. We said to ourselves, today, we are now having made in Anambra shoes. And I'll tell you another story that's supporting that. We said to ourselves, today, a lot of people now are wearing made in Anambra, or made in Nigerian clothing, like me. When I zoom that man to, I'm a banker if you don't understand. My wardrobe with shoes are so many that I don't know where they are. I keyed in to show by example. So I said, let's go and develop tailoring and garment industrial cluster. His Excellency, looking at our success story, obliged, gave all the approvals with my board. Because one thing that makes things to work is all about leadership. We have a leader in the mode of His Excellency who had a mission and vision, what he wants to do, and then selected the finest in the industry and made them the directors of ASBA, as well as the management. And that's what's working miracle.
That was a very elaborate opening remark coming from you, and it may have knocked off quite a few questions that would have come your way. But for clarity purposes, it would still be very important for us to understand a clear definition of, or rather, the vision behind the establishment of ASBA, and your own personal assessment of the impact this agency has had with regards to distilling the vision now down to practicalities. You have cited a few examples, but we want more. And we want because we are in a very highly skeptical society. If you say you have done something, people want to see examples. I want you to give us illustrations. You have mentioned Anambra rice. We've talked about the shoe cluster in Nkwele. We want quite a number of more examples because some of us might be familiar with what you've done, but the world would like to hear it from the horse's mouth. Thank you.
Now, our sole approach to actualizing this dream was one, to ensure that we create an enabling environment. What do I mean by enabling environment? And I'll move into specifics. Managing micro enterprises are like a woman that just delivered. So it's so critical because we're incubating them. And so it's important that when we funded them, I said in microcredit, we got 1 billion naira for micro enterprises. And we use it to fund over 13,720 people that belong in this bracket. The maximum that we can borrow in that area is 500,000. You can do 50, you can do 100, you can do 200, depending on your needs. Because if you come to us with a business plan, for instance, let me break it down a little bit. A hairdresser, we know the highest thing he needs is dryer, whatever, and probably I pass my neighbor generator. If you come for a bigger one, I'll tell you now. Because you can't power it, you don't need it. But that's why it's micro. If somebody needs the youths coming in that are new, you want to go into agriculture, fish farming, we know you don't have experience. We know you have not enough money. So, we'll get input from Ministry of Agriculture. So we can provide those basic needs that will enable you. We won't give you cash. There are some that will approve 500,000. They want to go into fish farming. And Ministry said, look, this is way for them to go into what they call artificial fish ponds. Fingerling, blah, blah, blah. They can provide it. And I tell them this is way to go. They say, no, give me my money. I said, sorry, my money will enter voice now. At the end of this discussion, I will tell you that this fund we borrow from CBN, we have recovered 90%. We have, and we are very conversant in paying to CBN. Our vision basically was to use micro, small, and medium to exterminate poverty. We grouped all the market traders. Every sector benefited. The market women, we grouped them under cooperative. In fact, I handled over 1,250 cooperatives. One cooperative, by the way, comprises of 10 people. Now, we structured them all over Anambra State. And we gave them funds. If you go to every market, they benefited. All the artisans, they benefited. It's on record. There is no area you mention our activities. If I want to call the market women that benefited, whether it's in electronics, whether it's in Okwo, whether it's in everywhere, every market, what did we use as collateral? That's shops and then maybe guarantee people. So that's actually what helped us in achieving recession. When recession was on, almost every state was in recession. ASBA, governor, pumped 2 billion in the circulation. If we give a 300,000 to a market woman that is selling, he has to bring 1 or 2 people to join. That's employment. You also heard about today, there is no unemployment in Anambra State is down. What also we did, all those big entrepreneurs, companies under SME. SME, we gave them minimum 10 million, maximum 50 million. We used it to develop a bunch of all those companies that are almost moribund and are functioning today. And above all, we play into the critical areas of His Excellency's economic blueprint. Like the FIBO, like in agriculture. We funded them so much. There's a woman of Umuchu. Of course, there are testimonies.
Yes.
The Ego farmers.
Yes.
The testimonies are flying everywhere. ASBA. Easy Life Electronics is flying everywhere. So many, I don't know what to mention or not to mention.
Almost.
So many. So, is it Noram? Is it here? Phenoplastica, I can mention over 200, 300, 400 that ASBA had done. ASBA is really making sure that this government, far to us, we go everywhere. Our gospel, our governor has charged ASBA to do is to go to the nooks and crannies of Anambra State and exterminate poverty. That's what we're doing, and that's our creed. And I reveal to 19 every time we move on. And I can tell you, no wonder, August 1st, 2019, this agency called ASBA is replicated in all the states of the Federation, including Abuja.
Really?
Yes. I want to tell the press. CBN gave all of us 2 billion to function, and that's what we used. We managed it very, very professionally. Under the central bank, we are reporting to CBN, paying them all the interest, paying them all the matured obligation, without leaning back on the government to help us, like others are doing. What have you quoted? And at the end of the day, there was a time the vice president that was in charge of the economic activities of the government, federal government, he started visiting. What activities have these people within their state used this money to achieve? And when he came to Anambra State, all sense on each other. Sometime last year, he was overwhelmed. He said, Willie, no wonder you are carrying first everywhere. At the end of the day, they analyzed. August 1 was a red letter day for the Anambra. We moved to Aso Rock. SLG represented the governor. And they gave a scorecard. The most supporting state in micro, small, and medium. The best agency in Nigeria was acclaimed to be ASBA. And we came with the award here. Now, that achievement leads to another thing. We were asked, what do you want federal government to use in supporting you in one of the critical sectors you have done? I raised my hand and said, this shoe industrial cluster is uppermost in our mind. We have addressed rice. If we address shoe, and our people that are fashion conscious are buying shoe here, made in Anambra shoe. The same standard from Italy, the same standard from Spain. That's a good content. And I told them, we listed the equipment they supply. It's in the hundreds and millions of dollars. They approved it. I also said, aside from that, we will need to bring in those equipment, put it, so that these people that will not have the fund to bring it will be paying small stipend and getting their shoe cut and put into that standard. And I said, okay, when you are managing micro, small, and medium, it's a business of effective cost reduction. Our people from micro, I pray they go to small, and I pray they go to medium and the Dangotes. They need to go to Abuja, CAC, to update their records. We want that office to be there under one roof. They approve it. I said, Development Bank of Industry, helps. We want it to be the same place approved. Bank of Industry, all of them are approved to be behind the shoe industrial cluster under one roof. That's cost of an achievement. And now, having done that, they now said, they will do it. But there is a corresponding responsibility from Anambra State government. And I told them, mention it. Our governor will definitely do it. He's a lover of progress. And they said, he says the government of Anambra State will provide a gigantic warehouse that will house all these offices, as well as this equipment to be imported. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'm delighted and happy to inform you. His Excellency has approved that. Not only approved, this warehouse behind the whatever is nearing completion. It's at the roofing level. They are fabricating the iron truss to put in there. The special advisor on SME from the presidency called me. He wrote a mail to the governor that the vice president would like to personally come and declare that place open. Come next month. He was also saying that those equipment has already arrived in Nigeria. They've arrived. And that I should give them a roadmap when to fly in the foreign technical partners that will install them. So what I'm trying to explain, if you allow me, I'll continue to talk. If we are the best in Nigeria,
Yeah.
what else do you want me to say?
God
bless you.
Sometime, I guess it's following some of these achievements in Rio. There was a deliberate policy to increase the number of women, participation of women in micro business enterprises. And I think it flows from the policy of the government to encourage women participation, especially petty traders and all that. And I know you worked in concert with Her Excellency to mobilize the women groups and all. I want to know, because in clear terms, how many of these women groups, in terms of the impact that venture has had, whether you succeeded in pulling it through, what impact has it had with respect to engaging the women, achieving the objective that was set out of about 60% of them getting the credits that is required. Secondly, I also know that we are aware that one of the challenges that confront you in terms of managing some of these businesses that you can say have no address is getting back your investment. To what extent have you been able to recover some of those micro loans?
Women has always been given 60%. And I can tell you that our recovery rate is slightly above 90%. So I can assure you, it is the females, the women, that pays without much stress. A man who would like to even kidnap me or kill me when I'm chasing him to pay me. I'm sorry to mention that. An average woman of Anambra will tell the husband, Oga, Lotakwan is your husband, let's go and pay them. Oga, sit on what if them. So I have worked with Her Excellency in that passion, and it is working. And I can assure you, many facilities coming to ASBA in respect of micro, women is already dedicated to 60%. If we had recovered 90% and women had a substantial chunk, you can have an answer. That is coming. And let me tell you the critical reason why most people don't recover money. One, lack of professionalism, lack of self-will, among others. If you have planned to fail day one, whatever. Because in banking, there are canons of banking, there are canons of lending. Somebody comes to you to say he needs a 200,000. You review the business plan. What he needs is just 75,000. Why must he give you 200,000? He will mess it up. And somebody comes to you to say, look, I need 120,000 to do X, Y, Z. And after your analysis and giving margin of error, you discover he needs 200,000. You tell him, please go back. You need 200. If his capacity cannot cope, you advise him to go and form cooperative. That's the sense of cooperative. If I'm giving a 500,000 maximum, and you come with a business plan that can carry 3 million naira transaction, I'm not going to lend 500,000 to you. I would rather advise you to go and bring people of like mind, form a cooperative. So that as this guy is getting his 500, you're getting the 500, you have 300 million. And that business will flow seamlessly. That is the game. Because when they're going to give me this one, Sorry, we will know how to cross. They won't get to the bridge. You don't get to the bridge in ASBA. The bridge is already there. So I'm going to tell you what you must do to succeed. We are strong in this business. We've done it. It's what we've done over the decades in the industry. And then that's why it's working. That's why we leverage our relationship with all the MDAs and other parastatals. We'll take you to the ministry that is responsible. Analyze it, tell us. And by the time they bring it, we'll talk like professors. That's why you see lawyers. They can talk in court on anything, medicine, accounting, everything. Because they're learned. Reason. If it's financial thing, I will explain to them A to Z. They'll go there and discuss it. If it's medicine. But one thing we don't do, that's why we are failing. We don't like to use the strength of others. Everybody is important in this country, in this world. If you're a driver, that's a strength. If you are this, you need to leverage. Let me tell you, do you even know the driver can manage your vehicle better than you? He tells you, okay, I'm hearing this sound, so take it to mechanic. So all I'm trying to say in ASBA, our strength is in linking up. If you talk about agriculture, I'll go to the mother ministry. By the time I come with what they're giving us, we are delivering. So all I'm trying to say is that our recovery rate is because we do the right thing, and we're not looking at cutting corners.
But my question is bordered on these legacy credit issues that has been there before the formation of ASBA. And I'm quite aware that by default, they shifted them to you to do one or two things there and use your office to recover them. And you know quite well that some of them were dated back to 2003, 2006, 2009, and 2011. And you know those loans, those grants and the credits were used for political patronages. I want to know what you are doing or how far have you gone in the recovery of those loans that were given to people. But it disappeared, the thing there.
Few months to the expiration of last administration, I mean Peter Obi's administration, the government disbursed about 1.2 billion, and that money was borrowed from CBN. What is your agency doing? Because they say government is a continuum. Because I know it's a debt owed by Anambra state government. What is your government, what is your agency doing to recover this money and pay back CBN? Or are we still owing CBN up to date?
It's true that they borrowed 1.2 billion. It is CAS, Commercial Credit Agricultural Scheme, 1.2 billion. If you know my preamble, I said that His Excellency, the dynamic working governor, is running and managing these affairs with strong institutions. And I want to be quoted. If that's what you get, I'm fine. And the other administrations used, they use strong personalities. That's what I mentioned. And so let me dissect it. Strong institution creates legacy, outlives its owner. His Excellency, His wisdom, has established ASBA, Law Creation of Anambra State House of Assembly, with a critical mandate. That's a popular saying that in Igbo land, if you have too many goats in your whatever, nobody's looking after them, what do? They'll die. So, there was no structure on ground. How can you on earth, you borrowed 1.something billion and move it to the field, share money, share money, share money? Where is the office responsible for that? No office. Ab initio, that program was destined to fail. And that's also in line with the Bank of Agriculture 1 billion. The same program. They borrowed that 1 billion. They just shared it. No record, no record. No area you get any record. But the good thing is that the governor is a magnanimous man. He didn't want to make noise. He has definitely written off those loans. Without making noise. To the Central Bank of Nigeria. Because if you know how this thing works, for you to get that money, you have a participating financial institution that will be responsible. The CBN will be hitting the account, and they will be hitting the account of government. Like you have a child in school, you don't pay their school fee, they collect it from you.
ASBA.
Yes. So, one thing we have done, that one where no one kobo was recovered because there's no record. I have written series of letters. It's not that ASBA was pushed to go recover per se, but to fast track it, help the Ministry of Agriculture that did it. And that's why I'm saying that you need strong institution. Ministry of Agriculture, though it's not this present team of Obiano. So, the Ministry of Agriculture are experts in the business of agri. If they are not experts in business of monetary management, we now have ASBA. And so, we moved in, I've written series of letters everywhere. But they don't have strong backup to hold on, to start fighting. I think the government has not said free, we are not living in the free. Very soon we'll have a meeting. Because whatever name they are, you know where we'll write their name on whatever, and they'll start responding. We'll know where we'll take their name, and they'll start responding. But that is the last resort. Meanwhile, we are coercing them, writing them, talking to them, to ensure they comply. Now, the commercial agriculture 1.2 billion. What was recovered is 382 million, or thereabout. And when you punch the percentage, the other one is 0%, the 1 billion, 0. But I mentioned that ASBA that government got 2 billion for, will recover 90%. Punch your calculator and know the value. I promise His Excellency that with his vision and for the confidence reposed in my board and me and my team, we are going to give it 97%, if not 100. And we are working. And it's not easy, but the best capable man in me.
About 2 years ago or so, I'm not very sure of the date now, this administration came out with a policy to restrict Okada transportation to some places. Oka, Onitsha and Nnewi, we are excluded.
Nnewi was not part of it.
Okay, sorry, Nnewi was not, okay.
Mega Onitsha and Mega Oka.
Yes. And a component of that policy was that the government will help these Okada people to transit into shuttle commercial business. Your agency is involved in that arrangement. Will you use this opportunity to tell us what has happened to that policy? Was it later abandoned? Or you have a certain percentage of compliance?
Thank you very much for this question. I think it's an interesting question. I'm passionate, I'm very, very happy because you mentioned the government promised to help them. That's the operative word. Before I delve critically into that question, I think let us look at the function of a government. The duty of a government is simply put all over the world to provide an enabling environment for the private sector to take the lead. That is key. My prayer is that my children will outlive me. They will perform better than me. The children of everybody in Anambra State are children of His Excellency. Am I not right? So, that policy created dream effect. One, if you look at period to that announcement, how many keke are you seeing here? After that announcement to date, go to everywhere. The issue now is keke quest work again also. Am I correct? What happened there? His Excellency's policy. That is the issue. You must be a dreamer, like Joseph the dreamer. I dream big. His Excellency, you know why I love him? He dreams big. But let me also analyze. Now, for money to be in people's pockets, governor shut down this Okada because they are creating problem. A lot of people now, Ndị ori na-aga ibulu keke wee mee ụdị ọgụ ị na-ana anyị enweta ma chukwude. So a lot of people approached us. Listen and listen well. A lot of people approached us. Some of them we get recommendation how they will fund their tokumba. The government tried to see how they can fund, what do they call it? It's not keke, this shuttle. I'm the committee responsible shouldering it. We did a lot of an analysis. And we said to ourselves, looking at the indices of what's happening in the market, we said, the government funds brand new products. Those keke and then indeed a shuttle. Looking at the success story already in the market, I did a recommendation. I said, the private sectors were funding them and they're doing it privately. For a government to come into this particular business and bring in brand new vehicle, we'll look at the market. That's why I say, even in ASBA, we jettison anything that has foreign exchange element. If you want me to support you in ASBA and you are importing, I'll tell you, bros, looking worse. Because you failed me. You may be a good man today. Foreign exchange will make you to be a bad man. But by the time you are bringing your product, the repayment pattern will change. Today, dollar is getting to 500. Before it was less than 400 or 300. That is how this messes people up. So if you bring a brand new shuttle bus, are probably familiar. Now, the critical area, these private sectors, government, even my agency, and so many other areas are supporting indirectly, doing it, creating a good business. If instead of being why don't you go to this space? Let Army be your own sector. You are in charge. So what I'm trying to explain and make it very clear is that if you ask me the question, has the government done it? I will say yes. Because it is their policy that made the that diverted people. Because there's opportunities already. The business of a government is to create an enabling environment for private sector to go and take the lead and make profit and then move on. So I will tell you, whether it's in Paul, whether it's Onitsha, whether it's Obuku, whether it's anywhere, you will see that these vehicles are ubiquitous. Courtesy of Obiano. Thank you very much.
Some time ago, this government flagged off the training of youths in different skills at Nnewi and other places.
Wow.
And the governor promised the first graduates that they will be funded through ASBA.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, the governor equally promised that about 2 years ago or so, that the government will fund cluster fish farmers in all the communities of Anambra State. That they will gather fish farmers, give them a certain amount of money, and ask them to take off. Please, what is your agency doing to ensure that the promises of government are fulfilled? Because some of these promises are becoming bad debts for the government.
Thank you very much for this interesting question. This program from government that pertains ASBA. ASBA is a clearing house. We deliver. They were done. Let me start with the last one of fishing clusters for the youths. Let me update you. You know, we have a creative governor that is a banker par excellence. I also belong to that profession. Now, he has gone ahead. You may not have heard, but I want to make it very clear. His Excellency has received 1.5 billion naira from Central Bank of Nigeria. ASBA is on top of it, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, to develop what they call fishing industrial cluster and rice industrial cluster in the 3 senatorial districts of Anambra State. It's in phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 is to have these fishing villages in the senatorial zone. There was one in north, there is in the central, there is rice, north, south, all those areas. The major issue affecting the youth in fish farming is all about getting the critical infrastructure of fish ponds, good water, etc. The government has gotten approval from House of Assembly to raise this money. This money is already here. It's been approved for the infrastructure to be established. And in ASBA, we have, through the ministries concerned, Agric and the Fishery Whatever Agency, within the communities, you may not have known. All the communities are to submit to ASBA 7 names of youth from that community. And we insist their president and Igwe should sign so that it will be authentic. His Excellency believes in carrying governance, dividends of democracy to the grassroots everywhere. And then we have received from 154 communities. And we are filtering them. And we are processing them. So by the time this infrastructure will be completed, or near completion, we will invite all those youths and begin to train them. The rice farming people will train them on the process. The fishery people will train them. ASBA and their ally will train them on the financial engineering, how to manage money. Because Shakespeare said you are dead without money. Very important. And then, in doing this, because I told you not only that ASBA is giving money and funding Segudich or whatever, we were trying to manage them to be effective. We are not even asked them to bring any collateral or security. We will put off-takers. We will build, in that infrastructure, we will have a hostel where all of them will be housed. And we have off-takers, say Koskari's rice. As 4 or 5 months are getting, the parties are ready, they come and pay off. So we are planning not to fail. So that is giving a very high-tech, packaging. Then also, let me also say, there's another aspect you mentioned.
Training of youth or skills.
Good. Let me also tell you, there is no free lunch. Government trained them free of charge. And governor said, ASBA will provide soft loan. Mark that language. It is not grant. Most of them came and wanted grant. But I'm sure we funded most of them. If I can give you statistics from Mbako, from other area. And they're doing brilliantly well. The same people that will tell you they need physical cash are those people that may not want to, perform. Even in banking per se, no banker lends you 100%.
On this fish and rice farming clusters being planned for the 3 senatorial zones, do we have a takeoff date? And secondly, do we have locations in the 3 senatorial zones as at date?
Rice, for you to enter into the business of rice, you need to look at where there is water, stream, swamp. Very important. So, for Anambra South, Ndikelium is chosen. You have not less than 500 hectares. You know what an hectare means? Now, for North, North they have too many area for rice farming. You have the other one leg at Ifitogwari. For fishing, this is first phase, anyway. For fishing, Central, you have at Adazin Noku. From Nemo, hitting Adazin Noku, that area, before Tony Mas, whatever, that bush area, they will make sure it is very, very soil. That's also another one for fish, not for fish. You have it in Aguilera. So, this was just approved by His Excellency in the last ESCO. The vision, the way the governor is taking it, he wants it like yesterday. So, the construction work will start in earnest. There is fund dedicated for it. So, we believe within 1 month to 2 months, 1 month, you will see a lot of action. And so that's what I can say for that. But I can tell you, we are passionate about that. It's a legacy project. And the ASBA is at the top of making sure we re-engineer the financial side. Make sure we manage the youth for them to be effective. I'm using this medium to also inform youths, people here, the press, to help us drum home. If there is a community that has not submitted this list of 7 youths to ASBA, let them do so. Presently, we have gotten from 154 communities. Anambra State is over 179 or thereabout. So we want that balance.
Are there other areas that you're working on, apart from these 2? And then secondly, an average Anambra person may want to know how to access a loan from ASBA. What are the requirements?
I say we recorded success in all the economic engines of His Excellency. We supported trade and commerce. We supported the agriculture. We supported the cottage industries. We supported logistics, etc. But because we funded, I told you we developed over 1,000 cooperatives, which we funded. And this cooperative, in fact, even you see the working women dancing and clapping and praying for Her Excellency and His Excellency, most of them are from ASBA's alert. You know alert. Yeah, that's why I don't get alert. God win. So they sing. Very important. And they're clapping for His Excellency. Now, what we said, we have 2 strong industrial clusters that we funded. Industrial cluster. Of course, you can put the rice. Because I said we have micro rice farmers we supported. And tutor them to be experts in rice farming only. Don't be jack of all trades. So you begin to look for equipment to mill the rice, do all kinds of things. Package it. You are wasting your fund. Use it to farm as much hectares as possible. Let the expert come and buy it and the mill. And then let the middleman come and distribute. When you see Coca-Cola, Nigerian Brewery, putting some freezers in some shops, they know what they're doing. They're trying to reduce their costs. They give you must always sell their product. Because if they have to keep selling, how many places will they be? They rent, they pay for staff, they pay for all kinds of things. So that's professionalism. It's a new door. And so that's why we have made success in everywhere across. Now wonder if we are the best in the whole Nigeria by all indices. Okay, must be A plus. I book up Natabunye Governor on the website ASBA. www.asba.ng. Enough was minor. We have developed at an advanced stage tailoring and garment industrial cluster. We can also say the rice industrial cluster, we started it. We put ubiquitous youths to go there and farm with our 500,000 and then make money by selling paddy. So to that extent, we can claim that. With time on our part, we will still look at another area and Tualia Millennia. So the other one about how to assess is very simple, very, very simple. The most important thing, you must be passionate with what you're doing for you to come to ASBA. Because no matter either but I address the question. I see that enthusiasm in you. You must have A to Z in what you're doing. It is passion. If you are not passionate, you can't be a successful person. You are choosing life. That is one area. And then if you are passionate, you will give me a business plan. You don't need to go to Harvard to write a business plan. If Zebediah comes to tell you one program or the other, the way you demonstrate, you follow him. When they create the perform, you follow him. And when they get a film, now film, imagine it, you go there. It was a fantastic program. That's the way we look at experts. So, when you come to us, we'll ask you a question. What do you do? Tell us the truth. We'll help you. We know you may not be expert. That's why it's micro. We need to nurture you. We need to show you the best way to go. It's here, why are you tell you? We'll tell you. Okay? This cannot work because of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I'm trying to explain. So, but if you tell us this is where you are, and one important thing is you must be honest. You must be very honest. Tell us as it were. Then let's package you. And when we package you, you'll be an expert.
How do you convince those people who are still waiting in the wings to come on board? There are new funds available to come on board, assess these loans, and change the course of their lives. Because at the end of the day, that's one of the things that we hold on to as well, legacies of the Obiano administration. I want you to state in clear terms what they need to do to assess this loan and in which area now.
The Anambra, I want to assure you that there's no point waiting. Come to ASBA, Anambra State Small Business Agency. You will be funded. We have funds now with us. We have what the governor has established. Anambra State Micro Agric Scheme. That is the one we're giving to micro people. Maximum of 300,000. For you to engage in farming, real farming. Come to us. You meet the requirement with your business plan and whatever. We'll visit you. Know what you are doing. It's ongoing. In fishery, in poultry, you know, we are doing it. It's on with us. Secondly, I've talked about the one for the youth. Well, we are rolling it from the higher level, the Igwes and whatever. They are putting their, whatever. I think they are from Nimo. Your Igwe are signed. I saw your letter. It's in the system. Almost all communities. Igwe. So, what we are also saying, and I'm sure, because His Excellency is seriously working from the Anambra, making sure that these funds are hitting the landscape of Anambra at a single digit. No hidden charges. So for here, I'm happy. Anambra will hear that Willie is willingly working and the people are happy. Our website is www.asba.ng. When you move in there, you see everything you need to see. You see all our achievements. You see all our activities. You see that this funding we gave cut across everybody. Don't wait to be told. God bless you.
For coming and exceeding our expectations. Not just meeting our expectations, but exceeding our expectations. For doing justice to this occasion. It's very clear that you live out the job. You're so passionate about it. So there's nothing else to add, nothing else to ask you to do again, but to sustain the momentum, keep up the tempo, keep up the good job. The work that you people are doing in ASBA will be better appreciated by the society, by coming generations. The good Lord will keep you, empower you, and bless you. Amen.